By the time this video comes out, the month of October will be underway. Now, I don't know about you, but I like to associate October with Halloween and Halloween with scary movies, ergo, October with scary movies. And this month, I decided to look at a couple of times that wrestling tried to break the spook barrier. This week, I'm looking at The Unbreakable Bunch, a movie that was filmed in 2019 but not officially released until 2023. One of the latest contributions to the growing subgenre of wrestling-themed sci-fi and horror flicks, an alien invasion slowly begins to take over the land, and it can only be stopped by a traveling group of aging wrestlers, featuring an all-star cast of talent like Glacier, Larry Zbyszko, Ernest the Cat Miller, and one of our faves here, the man called Meng. If you love hokey sci-fi and you loved the WCW mid-card from the late 90s, man have I found the perfect intersection for you. I mean, just look at this poster. If the sight of Haku brandishing a shotgun doesn't make you want to watch this movie, nothing will. So somebody call your mama and grab an ice-cold beverage. The ice being for Glacier, because we're about to watch wrestling's answer to The Expendables, The Unbreakable Bunch. But first, if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to this channel, hit that bell icon to get notified of more videos like this. Huh, Anthem owns this company? Anthem as in TNA Anthem? Small world. The movie opens with a throwback to several years ago somewhere in deepest, darkest Florida, where all the old wrestlers live. The first thing we see is a couple canoodling, and as we all know, raging hormones in isolated areas are like a homing beacon to invading aliens. What else are they gonna do? Not break up a lay?
Hey, did you see that?
Before you can say, aren't these people a little old to be making out in the woods, we see that the flying object is in fact an alien egg. Aw, look at the little guy. Don't you just want to see him put on a little hat and start dancing?
How much do you think they pay for one of these up at the college?
Sure, that's literally the first thing I would say upon finding that too. I gotta get this out of the way now, but I can't get over how this guy's traps are bigger than his head. Anyway...
I bet that thing's super valuable.
Surprise, bitch!
The big guy presumably kills the little guy, but it's already too late as the alien infestation has begun via jump cut. We then jump to some time later, where a reporter is sent on assignment to interview an old wrestler who was apparently at the center of an incident from long ago that has since been covered up or something. The man of mystery looks to be an elderly Elvis impersonator. How the honky-tonk man hasn't come after Anthem for a payday over this, I have no idea. The movie really leaned into this character having an Elvis-themed gimmick. They even lift direct quotes from Elvis himself and put them in the script.
When it comes to world issues and things like that, that's not something that I comment on. I'm just an entertainer, and I'd rather keep all that to myself.
Ambition is a dream with a V8 engine.
I will say this, if you're a big fan of the King, then I think you'll appreciate all the deep references this movie makes to him. Isn't that right, Mr. Ooh La La? It's time to hear about how great it is to be a pro wrestler, to the visuals of late-era WCW job guy Luther Biggs.
Pro wrestling can be a great life, a good time. It can be a real adventure. Fame, wealth, and the kind of freedom that comes with success. Very few will ever achieve that freedom. But at the end, it's not about the fame, money, or titles.
So out of all the names featured in this movie, the most pivotal figure is Vernon Love, played by the guy who was the hapless lackey training under Glacier's later gimmick coach Buzz Stern before having a cup of coffee in TNA as Disgraceland. It seems like a very odd choice until you realize that he's been credited not only with the story, but also as one of the writers, editors, and producers. Then it all makes sense. Speaking of making sense, we go back to these several years ago from the beginning of the movie and meet Glacier's character of Jock Holiday, all-around great guy. He's having a match in front of a captive audience, which includes the It's Still Real to Me guy. We also meet Nicodemus Quarles, the sleazy promoter type in this picture who cheats kids out of money with phony autographs. Elsewhere, a park ranger lady immediately and without suspense discovers an orange covered in slime. Anyway, here's some more narration.
One night there was a horrible, horrible accident. Javi didn't survive. Jock, he never got over it.
We learn that Jock had a tag team partner who died in a car crash many years earlier, and that now he's taking care of his friend's widow and child. The widow runs a sober living facility that is suddenly at risk of going under. Without hesitation, Jock decides to put on one more wrestling tour to raise money and save the facility. And there are aliens too, right? It's time to recruit the guys, beginning with the Mighty King Tonga. Tonga is easily persuaded to join the cause once he learns it's to raise money for Katie's facility.
How many of the boys are on board so far?
Including me?
Aw, shit, son, he held up the 2 fingers. It's on now, let's fucking go! The assembly of old wrestling Avengers continues with Mac Brown, played by Ernest the Cat Miller. Hit it! He's seen here enjoying retirement by running a chain of karate dojos, out of garages apparently. But why would he want to go back on the road when there's all these karate milfs throwing themselves at him?
The arenas, the fans. Come on, Mac, you need that.
Do I look like I need that?
Up next, we see Larry ZBYSZKO in his natural habitat of a golf course, who is simply known in this movie as Legend. Then finally, it's Burnin' Love's turn.
And you and me, we've always looked out for each other, right?
We have?
Plus, you know the loot better than anybody.
Now there you've got a point.
Right, I do. You know all the great bars, great restaurants, great hot spots. I need you on this.
The crew is almost complete. Then they're joined by a young whippersnapper named Alexander the Great. He and Burnin' Love have some undefined generational beef with each other, which keeps a wedge between them all movie. Look at these younger assholes getting work in other countries like some mark.
Anyone who wants to be an international, worldwide superstar knows that at some point you have to tour Mexico.
I just booked the Tokyo Dome.
Ah, congrats, kid.
When was the last time you booked the Tokyo Dome?
Meanwhile, there's that lady from the first scene again. Ooh, she's showing her little secret just for us viewers. Okay, back to the A-plot. Mac decides to join up with the group after all, and the Blood and Thunder tour is on. Then we get another alien body snatch scene, and sing it, Meng!
Ame ame hure hure kasanga Channo mete o mukae ureshii na.
I'm sorry, but if we're not going to see this guy ripping an eye out or tearing an arm off somebody's socket like we heard in the stories past, then what are we doing here? On to highlights of the first big show, featuring Legend walking around with the AWA Championship, Jock and Mac recreating their classic WCW tandem, and the Mighty King Tonga in another battle royal.
The Mighty King Tonga here from the Mighty King Tonga. Mighty King Tonga. Body drop there for Mighty King Tonga, and he does it for the Mighty King Tonga.
Time to shoehorn some emotion into this movie as Legend has a smoke and reminisces over his dead wife.
Last month would have been our 35th anniversary, Jock. She's been gone so long now, I didn't know what the hell my purpose is anymore.
And there are aliens too, right?
Hey, man, what's the matter?
You can tell the Nightmare Factory was involved with this movie because at the next show we can see Anna Jay as the ring announcer, plus Julia Hart and the current Wrestling with Regret YouTube champion Marcus Erick's in the crowd. And Olympic gold medalist Steve Lundquist is there too. Boy, what an interesting circle of friends these guys run with. Much to Alexander's chagrin, he's set to wrestle Burnin' Love, and you can tell the match is really important because of how much bigger the writing is on the board. They start to grapple, and within minutes, emotions spill over for shootsies, and the match is thrown out.
This is absolutely getting out of hand here. We have got to cut to commercial break.
Must fight the urge to want to help him break it up. No, Brian, this is not your bad movie!
What was that out there?
That was a lesson in what happens when you turn your back during a fight.
You're fat, you're lazy, and you like to see other people get hurt.
Not other people, just you.
I'm not entirely sure why we're supposed to cheer for Burnin' Love in this movie. His character's not very likable, and unless you really appreciate his love of Elvis Presley, there's nothing interesting about him. If you didn't know that he was one of the main creative forces behind this movie, you would think he'd be the first character taken out by the invasion. Time for another wrestling and driving montage, which includes the Mighty King Tonga in, you guessed it, another battle royal, his third in about half an hour. And sure enough, the pleasant scene is once again interrupted with a cutaway to all the alien business. Let's get to the first encounter any minute now, please. Hey look, it's Diamond Dallas Padre having a wine ski with Jock. Oh, and you better believe that Dallas is playing himself here. Every word out of his mouth comes straight from his yoga program.
Life really is 10% of what happens to you. And 90% of how you react to it. You gotta breathe, bro.
We heard wrestling is 90% fake.
And then time for my favorite move on the planet, hitting a guy in the face with a beer mug, shoulders back, chest out. Also, is it me or is every dude with dialogue in this movie at least 50 years old? Wow, you'll never guess what happens. Another wrestling montage. Criminy, you can tell how desperate they are to get this thing to feature length. But at least now Burden Love is wearing a silly hat. If you're wondering how our alien pals are doing, they figured out how to cleverly disguise their glowing eyes. I did get a laugh out of Muscle Man dragging an entire sunglasses rack to their hideout, even though we see later in the movie they don't seem to work anyway.
I never liked places like New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, or Chicago. What I love is Americana.
Hey, is the narrator also explaining these alien cutaway scenes to the reporter, or what? I feel like I'm watching two different movies at once. Time for the boys to take part in a local pizza eating contest featuring another wrestler cameo in Ron Reese. You may recognize him as a member of Raven's flock in WCW, the Yeti, the Supergiant Ninja, or as the personification of evil.
D5, boom, boom, I came here to eat some pizza!
Jock bumps into the park ranger lady from earlier, and it seems like they're trying to build her as a love interest.
You must be one of the wrestlers that's in town for the show.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am. The Blood and Thunder tour. It's thank God we got a few wrestling fans that still like to see us get in there and mix it up a little bit. And that's also a fundraiser. We're helping a friend of ours out.
You know, this dialogue is not needed for the movie since we already know what's happening. Are these alien ladies who seemingly left their glasses at home gonna do anything here? Nope. Thank goodness for the pizza eating that's about to commence. As the blonde lady seems to be smitten by Jock's ability to drink a beer, the giant redneck is caught cheating and the wrestlers spring into action. A brawl breaks out and, wait a minute, Gangrel's in this too? Where do these guys keep coming from? This is the most amazing wrestling movie fight I've ever seen because one of the fair volunteers actually reverses an Irish whip on Jock. Then suddenly, Stan Hansen shows up and the brawl comes to a stop, as does the movie for a minute.
You know the legend.
Oh, hey, legend. How you doing, man? Long time.
Great to see you again, Hammer, buddy.
Yeah.
You remember the boys, BL and Mac?
Hey, BL and Mac. Good to see you, man. Jock, nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
Wow, you know.
What are you doing here?
What am I doing? I'm retired, man. My wife and I are having a great time down here. I'm a volunteer fireman.
Can we just grab a beer or get arrested for no reason to move this plot along?
And just like that, we were behind bars.
Oh. Okay, you know, I was kind of joking when I brought up the arrest thing a second ago, but whatever, fine. After somehow generating a noise complaint despite quietly drinking beer in their RV, our heroes are thrown in the tank, where it's time for these two stories to finally and poorly merge.
What's going on?
Jock, what are those things?
Watch out!
Look out!
Thanks to the park ranger lady from earlier, the guys managed to break out of the hoosegow and run back to their RV, which is still where they left it, I guess. But oh no, it's dead. Wait a minute, Burnin' Love's had a shotgun this whole time?
Y'all seen my dog?
I'm just going to assume that that's a reference to some movie I've not seen before, and I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, so now this guy with a beard rolls in and offers to give the team a ride until one of the aliens pops one of his tires with a tire iron. So then that guy gets out a crossbow. Whoa, slow down. This movie went from having none of the shit to all of it in just a matter of seconds.
We want to head southwest. This way, let's go. Come on in here.
Wow, they got away from that mob of aliens way too easily. What's the problem exactly? Blonde Lady explains that Beard Man is the local conspiracy nut who just happens to know what's going on with all this alien activity.
You know that I was the only upstanding citizen in this backwater swill smart enough to be able to smell the truth, darling.
All we know is that when they're converted, all they want to do is convert others.
Okay, so? We're wrestling fans. That's very normal behavior.
Pro wrestling versus aliens. Man, that's like a monster movie.
Nobody can say nothing no more, and the whole world are finally gonna realize it.
Okay, so wait a minute. The aliens can shoot guns now? I guess if you don't have the budget to include aliens that can actually fight, then sure, having them slowly shoot people is good enough. The mighty King Tonga wants to fight the Muscle Man himself. At one point, he gets saved by a returning Stan Hansen, who I guess just happened to be in the area. Then he gets killed by Muscle Man. Okay, didn't have that on my bingo card. Elsewhere, the rest of the group splits off, and Burnin' Love and Mac Tonight are surprised by zombified, jump-cutting Buck Bresner.
We get more ammo, then we get everybody back together.
The American Giant is finally conquered with the power of electricity. Pfft, that's a cell that would make Abdul the Butcher roll his eyes. Oh my god, these fight scenes are so bad. Why don't you guys just shoot them? Oh great, now you lost your gun because you were holding it like an asshole. Congratulations. Burnin' Love and Mac make their way to an ammo shop and try to break in when... Yay!
It's just rock salt. I use it to shoo the freaks away.
Aww. After that playful misunderstanding, our heroes befriend the locals, one of whom is played by Missy Hyatt. Okay then, why not? Despite putting up a valiant effort alongside Legend, Alexander the Douche ultimately gets got by one of the baddies. Legend looks to be toast until he's saved by the sleazy promoter, coming in hot with the completely out of nowhere babyface turn.
What happened to you?
Can we just get out of this town, please?
Then Burnin' Love has a final confrontation with Alexander, who I guess gained an invulnerability buff since becoming an alien. Seriously, why are Muscle Man and Alexander the only two aliens who get to no-sell like this? I mean, I get that Alex worked Mexico and the Tokyo Dome, but what's Muscle Man's excuse? It's at this point in the movie I finally noticed the little nod to Pistol Pez Watley on the side of the RV. Nice touch. So anyways, ZBYSZKO starts blasting. Then he just up and abandons the promoter who saved him. What a dick.
Hands up, turn around, eyes open. Let me see those eyes.
Bro, what are you doing?
After an encounter which sees Burnin' Love and Jock both take alien bullets but just end up being okay, I guess, they make their way to the gun store and everyone loads up for a climactic battle.
It's the entire town of Shelbyville from across the river.
Thanks. Really helpful info there. So the very bad gunfight commences, and again, I can't stress enough how silly it is that these super tough zombie-like aliens also have guns. While all this is going on, we see Legend getting attacked by the alien's first victim who snuck onto the RV. Also, the Muscle Man got on there after being knocked out by Meng earlier? Huh?
Legends never die!
Okay, for as bad as this movie is, ZBYSZKO's performance here more than makes up for what he did for Ultimate Deathmatch 3. But no time to be sad, as the Muscle Man is still somehow alive. One of the locals brings out a rocket launcher that's bigger than she is and hands it to Burnin' Love, who not only naturally knows how to operate it, but lands a direct hit on the big guy. It's time for Glacier to light a cigar, but first, remember what Sensei Dally taught you that one time. Breathe, let it go, and give that lady a smooch. Okay, back to the non-stop blasting of zombies. Remember the sheriff's officer from earlier? Yeah, now she's blasting them too. Remember those ladies from earlier who didn't do anything? Bam, they're dead now. And now, presented without comment, is the single greatest shot of the entire movie. You're welcome. And so, after blowing away every single one of those green-eyed bastards and then just leaving, we come back to the present day where we see an older Vernon Love. He says they just kept on doing the tour despite Alexander and Legend both dying. Then he reveals that Legend left behind tons of money when he died, helping save the sober living facility. Wow, I kind of forgot all about that part of the story. You know, the whole reason that the wrestlers went on tour to begin with. Like, why was that there? Oh, also, what happened to the promoter that Legend abandoned?
Nobody knows, nobody cares.
At least they're honest.
And if you think fighting aliens was wild, you ought to hear about the time we tangled with Bigfoot.
No sequel for you! The film wraps up with one final sappy sentiment that in the end, life is about the friends you make and the journeys you go on with them. And also, America. Just America.
I'll stay right here in the United States of America. USA all the way.
The best wrestlers are still right here in the United States of America.
America is the land of plenty.
In the best country in the world, USA #1, baby.
Thank you. Great country.
Especially when you're on the road with great friends in the good old United States of America.
And that was the Unbreakable Bunch. And you know, for as much as I appreciate all the guys in this movie, this is just bad. I mean, for starters, the whole thing feels like it was written by committee. And that's not a joke either. Look at how many people were credited for writing on this frickin' thing. You just have to know that there were a million different people with financial stakes involved who had to get their shit in creatively, which is why the movie is all over the place and so many threads are poorly resolved. Luther Biggs having so many different credits comes off as major Sean Kane syndrome and gives me the distinct impression that he put in the most amount of money, because there's no other reason for this guy to get so much screen time compared to guys like Ernest Miller or even Stan Hansen. This movie is all over the place. It didn't have a plot, it was just a series of incidents with an assortment of cameos. It might have helped if the wrestlers just played fictionalized versions of what we saw of them on TV and not try to reinvent the wheel with new characters and these generic sounding names. It would have been a lot easier for viewers to attach themselves emotionally to the characters, and it might have made their story a bit more compelling. The Unbreakable Bunch seemed to be a way for Luther Biggs to combine his love for Elvis and sci-fi movies with his love and appreciation for his wrestling brethren, which is certainly a noble goal. With some better writing and maybe a bit more gore, this could have been one for the ages, but the final product came out looking like a hot mess of bad film tropes mired in subpar production. Just a hunka unbreakable alien crud. But what did you think of the Unbreakable Bunch, and what about this review? Let me know in the comments section below. Certainly here on Wrestling with Regret, we can spend our time and energy focusing on more sophisticated films than the Unbreakable Bunch, better films even. I mean, what's wrong with a movie starring even bigger marquee talent than Glacier and Haku, Hall of Famers like Kurt Angle and Kevin Nash and Sid Vicious? What about respectable movies like River of Darkness? Ha 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 ha!